Northern Minnesota, a land known for mysterious northern lights, gorgeous lake sunsets, and eagles soaring above the pines. But to me, nothing says northern Minnesota like fishing for walleyes. People come from all over the Midwest to our small town here in Orr to fish Pelican Lake for big bass, bluegills, and crappies. But for me personally, I love to fish for walleye, especially in the spring. Sure, during July and August, I fish for mostly largemouth and smallmouth bass. But in May, and even into June, few fish are as much fun to catch as the elusive walleye. Unlike bass, which I think of as an ambush predator, a walleye is a roaming predator with eyes larger than average, which makes them having excellent vision, and they are extremely good hunters in low light conditions. This is why fishing for them at dusk or dawn is usually far more effective than fishing for them in the middle of the day. When I first moved to Pelican Lake, I really struggled catching walleyes. My usual methods of jigging, vertical jigging on humps and things in deep water, it just wasn't working. But after a couple of years of randomly getting lucky here and there to catch a walleye, I met and became friends with one of the best walleye fishermen in all of the Midwest. My friend Ron and his wife, they come to Pelican Lake each summer to fish for walleye, and Ron taught me how to use a crawler harness. Now, I'm able to catch walleye much more frequently and regularly. The biggest walleye I ever caught was right here on Pelican Lake. It came in at just a hair over 29 inches long and weighed more than 9 pounds. I have a replica hanging on my wall to remind me of that marvelous day. One of the best days I ever had fishing here on Pelican Lake was the day I was fishing with my son and he landed a 30-inch walleye. While we don't always catch trophies, we do enjoy catching walleyes of all sizes. If you're going to target walleyes here on Pelican Lake, I suggest fishing here in May. Walleyes tend to be more active in their feeding patterns in colder water and are easier to find before the weeds get too thick. I recommend slow trolling for them on the sand flats along weed lines. My favorite flat to troll is along the south shore of Pelican Lake. You want to use a rig like this. This is called a crawler harness or a Lindy rig or a spinner rig. Now whether you use one bought from the store like this one or like me, I use a homemade setup here. These will work best for walleye. So what you do is you need a decent medium to light action rod. Okay, you're going to take it. First you take a bullet weight or an egg sinker. You attach that, slide it right on the line. Then you take a swivel. Okay, and you hook that up just below your weight. And then you're going to attach your crawler harness right to the swivel. After putting a worm or a leech on your hooks, you're going to toss it out there and drag it behind you. And your beads are going to give you some color, but the main thing here is your spinner is going to spin around, giving some, little bit of vibration there on that blade. It'll attract your fish. So they're going to come up and they're going to bite the bottom of that worm. Now, here's one of the keys of walleye fishing doing it this style. You cannot set the hook at the very first tap. All right. Usually what's happened is the walleyes come up behind it and they just bit right there on the edge of that worm. You need to let them eat up the worm to get on the hooks. So you're going to feel that tap a little bit and you're going to let it go. And usually what happens is the rod is out in front of you and you're going to feel the weight. As you feel it, let the rod come across your body, let them eat up. Maybe count 3-5 seconds, somewhere in there. Once you feel a steady tap on it, or your rod is really starting to take some weight and you can feel it pulling down, go ahead and set that hook. Set it really good and firm. After setting the hook, do not put the rod back down, putting slack in your line. That's how they get off, okay? So set the hook and hold it up. If the rod stays bent over after you've done that and it's vibrating, you've got a fish on. Once you get your fish to the boat, use a good net to scoop the fish out. And remember, always scoop towards the head of your fish. Now, while we all probably know walleyes are a great tasting fish, this doesn't mean you need to kill and eat every walleye you catch. I suggest only eating walleyes between 15 and 20 inches long. These are the perfect eating size. The meat's firm, tasty. Please do not kill walleyes over 20 inches long. The state of Minnesota strongly discourages killing a walleye over 20 inches. So why is it that we want you to release the bigger walleyes or bigger fish in general? Because your larger fish, not only are they prime beaters, but they're also better able to make and protect beds. That means that when they make their bed, they're going to be able to be there and keep predators, they're going to keep crayfish, things like that, out of there eating their eggs at a higher rate to give a more successful hatch for their fry. So if you want to have years of continued fishing success here on Pelican Lake or other lakes in northern Minnesota, let the bigger fish go, especially anything over 25 inches long. Did you know that almost all the large fish are females? Okay, your female fish grow bigger than their male counterparts. So any walleye over 25 inches long is pretty much guaranteed to be a female. All right, so please put those fish back in the water. So if you want to have a chance to catch a big walleye like me or my son Brock, try fishing here on Pelican Lake in Orr, Minnesota, especially in May. Use a crawler harness and slow troll along a sand flat. Who knows, maybe you too will hook a big one. Few fish are as much fun to brag about as a big walleye.